Senator Cornyn. Oh, here we go. Vice President Pence.
Yep, Vice President Pence about to speak here.
Well, hello, NRA. Thank you, Chris, for that kind introduction. Chris knows me well enough to know the introduction I prefer is a little bit shorter. I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order, and I'm a card-carrying member of the NRA. To Wayne LaPierre, to Governor Abbott, the distinguished members of Congress, to all my fellow Americans who've come from near and far, it is great to be back at the 147th annual meeting of the National Rifle Association. Thank you all. And I'm especially proud to be here with a good friend of mine, a great champion of our most cherished liberties, and a man I can tell you who can't wait to get out here, the 45th President of the United States of America, President Donald Trump. You know, last year, President Trump spoke to this very gathering. The first president to do so in 34 years. And he told you then in his words that you have a true friend in the White House. And I'm here today as his vice president to tell you that you have two friends in the White House. President Donald Trump and I both stand without apology for the Second Amendment and in this administration, the right of the people to keep and bear arms will not be infringed.
You are listening to Vice President Mike Pence addressing the NRA Convention in downtown Dallas. We want to let you know we are going to regular programming now, but our coverage continues right now at WFAA.